What's going on, everybody? Hey, no live tonight, but I wanted to do a quick video because we had massive news today. Just absolutely huge news for those of us in the MAGA movement, for people supporting Trump, wanting to see his agenda push through. And so I got to cover it. We got to go over what this means, the Supreme Court, what they did today, and what it means going forward. I'm telling you right now that this is absolutely the nightmare scenario for the Democrats. This changes the game completely moving forward. And so we're going to get into that. But before we do, please like, share, subscribe. I greatly appreciate you guys and all the support you give my channel. Okay, let's just get right into it because it's Friday night and I know you guys probably want to go hang out. So today, in a 6-3 ruling, the Supreme Court effectively nuked the universal injunctions used by rogue district court judges. The opinion was written by Amy Coney Barrett, Sotomayor, Jackson, and Kagan dissented. Of course they did. No surprise there. What's really cool about this, not only did Roberts and Coney Barrett choose the right side, but Amy Coney Barrett did, and a lot of people have been really tough on her lately. And but I've been telling you guys that even though, you know, she deserves some of the criticism, she's been on the right side of the biggest cases, whether it's this, the Chevron doctrine overturning Roe v. Wade, and a handful of others. So this is just, this is massive. And Trump has more injunctions against him by district judges, whether it's San Francisco, Washington, D.C., Texas, New Jersey, Baltimore, all over the place. They're just slapping down everything he's been trying to do time after time after time, just jamming up the courts. And it's been it's been the one thing really slowing down what's been the fastest 6 months of a presidency, maybe ever, probably ever, as far as getting stuff done. It's been incredible. And yet this is slowing him down. So now this is removed, this barrier, which is this was the one way the left was fighting him, because they really don't have much going on in Congress since they don't have any power. They don't have the presidency. They obviously don't have the Supreme Court at this point. The media, which was their tool forever, has failed them. And then the deep state is getting defanged. The USAID money's gone. They're firing all these people that have been embedded for so long. So the left has fallen apart. Don't get sidetracked by all this Mamdani talk from New York as if he's like some savior to the Democratic Party and they finally found their message. No, it's just that New York's gone crazy because all the sane people have left. They're tired of paying taxes, and the lunatics have taken over the asylum. That's New York. It doesn't mean anything. In fact, I hope the Democrats take it to mean it does, because it just means they're going to get destroyed more in 2026 and 2028. So don't worry about that. But this today has them freaking out big time, because no longer now can somebody, either an activist judge or one person bringing a case to sue the Trump administration over, or any president going forward, to sue them over an executive action. No one can come forward anymore and get an injunction slapped on them to stop them until it processes through the whole court system, which takes forever. You got to go through your first motion, get that done, and then if you get a bad opinion you don't like, then you got to go through the appeals courts, and eventually it moves up to Supreme Court. It can take years, and they knew that. They knew that by doing this, they could set back the Trump administration years in certain areas, but that's gone, and they are freaking out about this. In fact, check out this video real quick of this woman breaking down how badly this hurts what they want to get done.
It is effectively yes.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility, because if a state isn't allowed to obtain a nationwide injunction, then what the Supreme Court has said is every individual plaintiff, they can only get relief as to themselves individually and their children. So that means an individual, a U.S. citizen baby whose parents haven't obtained a lawyer, that the executive branch could deny them citizenship simply because they were not able to file a case to challenge the order as to them. That is just I think, an appalling result, given how difficult and expensive it is to obtain lawyers. And again, we're talking about a very vulnerable population here, individuals whose parents might be undocumented, who might be here without legal status, and you are requiring all of them to obtain lawyers to ensure their children are able to have their constitutional right of birthright citizenship.
Lisa, I know you want to weigh in too.
Yeah, I think a couple of things, Anna. One is,
so the Trump administration was genius in how they approached all this. They realized that if they, but yeah, look at her eyes. She's got the crazy eyes. This woman on the right, yeesh, she's got the liberal eyes. Trump administration was genius because they wanted this case to be all about birthright citizenship, and the Trump administration, the DOJ, approached this in a way that was like, well, hold on a second. If we approach it that way, we're much more likely to lose. Even though we think we have the right case on birthright citizenship, we know it's either going to be like a 5-4 majority if we win, maybe 4-5 going the other way, we lose. It's too close. So what we're going to do is we're going to come from this injunction angle. And it's genius because now also, as long as the birthright citizenship case is being decided, which Pam Bondi said today it might be decided as early as October, as long as that situation is being decided, Trump is enabled to allow his executive order to go through. So currently in every state, I think 38 states right now, he can enforce that birthright citizenship can no longer happen, which is one of the main reasons people run over here illegally, pop their baby out, get citizenship, and then they either stay with them, raise them here, and then get all the benefits of having a citizen in the family, or some of them run home, raise their kid elsewhere, and then they come back. So it's a total mess. Birthright citizenship should completely be abolished. It's never meant to be what it's been used for. And there is a strong case. We'll get into that another time. I've talked about it on my show. There is a strong case that it could be overturned, that the Constitution has been read wrong this entire time. But in the meantime, this was genius. And the repercussions of this means that now all those injunctions from district court judges against the executive branch, against the president, are gone. It's fantastic. And in the future, every time now Trump moves executively, they can't stop him this way. They're going to have to go through the Supreme Court, which takes time. That is a huge win for the MAGA movement, and Trump knows it. Says J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance says a huge ruling by the Supreme Court smacking down ridiculous process of nationwide injunctions. Under our system, everyone has to follow the law, including judges. And he shares what Trump says. Giant win in the U.S. Supreme Court. Even birthright citizens hoax has been indirectly hit hard. Had to do with the babies of slaves, same year, not the scamming of our immigration process. Congrats to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Solicitor General John Sauer, and the entire DOJ. And I think, because they got the win here, and with the momentum that could carry forward, I actually think it increases the chances now that the birthright citizenship, when it's heard on the merits itself, that could be overturned as well, and Trump could completely abolish that from our land, making America a much safer place. No other country in the world has that. It's stupid. You shouldn't be able to just come here, have a baby, and automatically get citizenship just because you had it on our land. That makes zero sense. Absolutely none. It should only be citizens who should be able to have other citizens. That's what every other country does. The 14th Amendment was about making sure that slaves were able to have children here that became citizens. And they were under the jurisdiction of the U.S., which is a key phrasing in the 14th Amendment. But the other big thing that came out of this is we had a cat fight, for lack of a better term. Amy Coney Barrett wrote the majority opinion, and she went off on Ketanji Brown Jackson, and for good reason. So in a minority dissent, Ketanji Brown Jackson wrote, it's ridiculous. It doesn't sound like a justice at all. She's got all kinds of weird phrasings in there, and Amy Coney Barrett wasn't having it. And you never see this on the Supreme Court. You never see them fight with each other. They are always like impartial. We get along. This tells you that there's either a lack of respect from Ketanji Brown Jackson to the other justices, and they're not having it anymore. And there's also a lack of, they don't respect her ability to do this. I mean, let's just look at a couple of things written here. She says, "We will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself." So there's she calls her out right there. And then on this one, she says, "Justice Jackson would do well to heed her own admonition. Everyone from the president on down is bound by law." That goes for judges too. So Ketanji Brown Jackson was making the argument that the judiciary should basically have control over everybody else. That they should. It's not a co-equal branch. It's the superior branch. And Amy Coney Barrett wasn't having it. Which Amy Coney Barrett's a genius, like her or not. I mean, remember at her testimony, she had her note card and they were like, "What's on your notes?" And she held it up and it was blank. She just knew everything by memory. She's a very smart woman. Charlie Kirk quotes this. He says, an actual quote from SCOTUS expert who understands the current court well: "This is an unbelievable bloodbath for Ketanji Brown Jackson." He says it's really a huge problem for the court to have one of 9 members essentially intellectually disabled from even adequately faking the ability to perform the job. Joe Biden explicitly picked KBJ for reasons of DEI rather than merit. Now he has seriously injured the highest court in the land, his own cause most of all, one embarrassment. So it's just coming more and more clear. She is a complete embarrassment on the court. I've listened to her arguments. She's not smart, or it's not that she's stupid, but she's overcome with zeal for the leftist movement. She's incapable. Like even Sotomayor and Kagan, who I'm not fans of, they at least sound like they're coming from it from a legal perspective, not an activist perspective. But Ketanji Brown Jackson is the first who's fully infiltrated as an activist judge, and it's ruining our court. Thank God, again, that Trump got in. Now she's going to be there a long time. She's the most recently appointed justice. She's young. She's going to be there a long time. But as long as we can keep packing the courts with conservatives, I believe by the time Trump is out of office in the next 3.5 years, he'll probably replace Thomas and Alito. They're both getting up there. And he's going to go very conservative because they're the most conservative members of the court. And then there's a chance he could replace Sotomayor as well because her health isn't good, which would make it 7-2. And when we get stuff like this, I mean, this is having Trump in the first term saved our country, because not only did he do several things that made it impossible for Biden to ruin our country fully in just 4 years. The Supreme Court's one of those things. It's been holding up and bringing our country back to basics by having this 6-3 majority. So thank God for that. And we could get it to 7-2 if Sotomayor leaves. And I think the only way I see Thomas and Alito hanging on is if they see that the second half of the Trump administration gets rocky, and then they decide we're not going to retire because there's no, they might hang on if they feel just J.D. Vance will definitely be the next president. But if it gets rocky, they might retire even quicker just to make sure that Trump can replace him. But so it's not the only decision today. A couple other huge decisions in one of the biggest Supreme Court days in recent memory. Supreme Court also today ruled parents are allowed to opt their children out of being indoctrinated with LGBTQ propaganda. So in Maryland, a bunch of parents were told that they no longer could opt their kids out of books. We're talking like 8-year-olds. They couldn't opt out of their kids being read books promoting homosexuality, promoting trans lifestyle as positive, as picture perfect. These books are sexually explicit. It's disgusting. And they told these parents, these Christians, Jews and Muslims also joined the suit, that they couldn't opt out. And so now the Supreme Court has said, absolutely, every parent has an option to opt out of this stuff across the whole United States. Now, the liberals are screaming, this is impossible to institute. Good. Because if it's impossible to, it's the law of the land now. And if they find that it's impossible to facilitate, that means they're just going to stop doing it altogether. So massive win there. And then there was a couple other cases, but this is the last one that was really big. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of states requiring age verification to access porn. So now every state legally can make age verification on porn sites to be 18 or older, which is just a huge win. Because, you know, when I was growing up, you had to go to like a gas station or something, and you had to have ID to get the dirty magazines, you know? So obviously I couldn't get them. I wasn't old enough back then. You always saw them, you know, behind those blockade things they'd have up. But you had to have ID to get those. It was just like smoking or drinking. And yet online, kids can access porn easily. Well, no longer. Any state now that wants to put in age verification can, which is huge. And I believe there's already something like 25 states that have done this. I know North Carolina has, Texas, South Carolina. There's a bunch of them. So great news again. So the Supreme Court, man, and all these decisions were 6-3, all of them, which means they went along the party lines, but it also means Amy Coney Barrett and Roberts joined the 4 more conservative members in every one of these rulings, which is absolutely huge. All right, these people are freaking out. And I got to show you guys this clip because they are so scared of what this means for them. This is specifically talking about the injunctions, but listen carefully as this woman on the right, as she speaks, because they know that they just lost. This is one of the worst days the liberals have had, maybe the worst day they've had since Trump was inaugurated. Listen.
Melissa Murray, do you agree?
I completely agree with this. I want to go back to what Andrew was saying about the silver linings. I don't think there are silver linings here, and I want to be very clear with the viewers at home. This is a really grave situation. This court has effectively taken the restraints off of this administration. We don't have a Congress that is stepping in to rein in this administration. All we've had are lower court judges who are looking at the lawlessness of this administration, saying, not on my watch, imposing these nationwide injunctions to stop the damage in its tracks. And this.
You hear how she talks about these these judges like they're heroes. Not on my watch will you do this. She's talking as if they're heroes. And now she just watched all these heroes of the left lose their power. It's glorious to see.
Court has now said that limited tool, that limited judicial remedy goes too far. And instead, what individual litigants are going to have to do is go to every district in this country to litigate, to stop the administration in its tracks, or somehow find, at a time when the administration has made the availability of lawyers scarce, find a lawyer who is willing to take on the challenge of mounting a class action to go.
Real quick, did you hear what she said there? The administration has made the availability of lawyers scarce. How is that even a thing? Did I miss the ruling where Trump said lawyers can't take cases? Anyways, that's just a very strange thing to say.
Go and challenge this administration. This court has made it absolutely impossible to try and stop the worst of what the administration is doing. So there really aren't silver linings. Yes, there are some litigants now who have amended their complaints and filed class actions, but the idea that we are going to do this for everything is really just unfathomable. It's not just birthright citizenship that is at stake. These nationwide injunctions have been used across the board to stop this administration from firing federal workers, to stop this administration from rescinding funding from research institutions and universities. All of that ends now. The gloves are off. There are no restraints, no checks on this administration. We are entering a very dangerous moment.
Inject that into my veins. That is what I want to hear. I love every second of that. That makes me very happy, and it should make you guys happy too. That is beautiful. You hear the panic? You hear the sheer panic. They're freaking out. So in a week that started with Trump getting peace in Iran, Israel, getting a ceasefire, after dropping the bombs, everybody freaking out. In a week that started like that, we ended this week with one of the biggest Supreme Court days in recent memory. Huge day. The Trump administration just had arguably its best week ever. Oh, and by the way, trade deal with China this week. Congo and Rwanda came to the White House, signed a peace deal after a 30-year war. I mean, the wins just keep piling up. And Charlie Kirk shares right here, no nukes for Iran, ceasefire in the Middle East, stock market hits a record high. Oh, I forgot about that part. Borders totally secure, deportations accelerating record levels, peace between Rwanda and Congo, massive tax cut about to pass, maybe next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Amen to that. And on that note, guys, have a great weekend. We are winning so big, and the biggest tools they've had to stop what we're doing with this country, taking our country back, moving things forward, they're being taken away one by one. And one of the biggest weapons they had, if not the biggest, was completely defanged today. Absolutely massive day for Trump and MAGA. I love it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Please like and share, subscribe if you like this video. I appreciate it. And for those who regularly watch my channel, I'll see you live in just a couple nights. God bless you. Have a great night. Take care.